There you go. Emily, sir, how are you? Was messaging with there you go. Jamie, how are you doing? So surgery went well, I suppose. And thank God you're still with us. So that's a big plus, huh? So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Well, that's already a big plus, isn't it? Being here. But it's been beautiful weather out here anyway. So got a couple more things done on John Deere 4630. Using Evapor Rust to clear the cylinder walls. They were pretty rusted up. So yeah, it's nice weather here too, Jamie. It's very nice. And then I pumped the engine full of oil, used engine oil, so and so that way everything gets some oil in all the nooks and crannies. And hopefully here in a couple days we can get the engine knocked loose. That'll be exciting. Dancing along with Reynolds. How are you, my good sir? Yeah, I do that all the time, dancing. No, I'm not. I'm not that guy. But I'll tell you what, though, there's a bunch of yahoos these days on Facebook Marketplace. It's a pain in the rear. People that post stuff up for sale and they contact them and they don't want to respond. It's like, okay, so do you have it for sale or not? But oh well. There you go, Em. Danson is offering you some burgers, some boogers. Check the engine on the 80 Bronco and surprised she wasn't locked up. Well, that is nice. That is an awesome surprise. That that John Deere 4630 I'm working on right now, that engine is locked up. So, but looks like it's just locked up from sitting. So, bunch of rust in the cylinder walls and whatnot. Like I said, I've got that evaporust in there. I tried it first with just a little bit, and man, that stuff really works. It's it's pretty amazing. It's eating that rust up like it's out of style. So the other day I filled them all the way up and leave it sit for a couple days. So hopefully here on Tuesday I can see if she wants to, if I can get her to break free and spin over. Yeah, if the cylinder walls were clean, Jamie, I would do that. I would use any kind of oil, but there was rust on the cylinder walls. So, and I used the borescope and went inside the engine to look uh, on the cylinder wall that was that's on the inside of the engine, and that looked all clean. So hopefully, I got a good chance of breaking it free. So it saves me from having to rebuild the entire engine. But we'll all document that here in a couple weeks. The first video will be dropping on that, and then y'all have the chance to watch the live on pulling the cylinder heads. So, and if you watch that live, you can see how rusty the cylinder walls are. So, but and there's a good chance if all the rust clears off, I would oil all that stuff up real good anyway. So it's not like I don't have any used engine oil around. And then the next thing would be to work on the cylinder head and make sure all the valves are moving and that kind of stuff. So the rocker arm assembly looks pretty good, and there's two of them that they're a little stuck, but I think if I put a little bit of oil on that and stuff like that, it'll break free. I've been way out of touch with YouTubers. Well, like I said, Jamie, I thought that was a pretty good live. I had fun doing it, so you can go back and watch. Hey, Doug, how are you? Good to see you. Like I said, I was just talking about the John Deere 4630, so seeing to get that engine broke free and then hope that the injection pump is all good. Will be the next thing. But there was still fuel in it, so very old fuel, but I think I'll run some oil through there first, some W40 or something like that. And then, just turn it over a couple times by hand. Make sure that injection pump is lubed up good. So I think if I do that, then last oil change was done in the last date on the oil filters was from 2010. So was it 2010 or was it 12? Something like that. It's been sitting for a good long while. I'd say it's been sitting for at least 10 years. Thinking that, It after the last oil change, they ran it for another year or two and parked it for whatever reason. Yeah. Well, like I said, the hat. I'm going to put the hat back on last. So, like I said, I want to lube that. That will be the next thing, lubing up that injection pump because you don't want to break anything in that. Well, I tell you what, that whole John Deere engine is slapped full of oil now from top to bottom, and that takes almost 13 gallons. Zero W20 make for change engine soon light with GM62s, apparently. Really. What's the standard oil for that anyway, Jamie? Or the recommended oil? But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty excited about that tractor. So, um, and then oil in the rear end and all that, man, that looks clean. So that looks like, so there's a good chance that she'll drive if we get it to run. Zero W40. Okay. But I tell you what, I'm having a blast doing that with that John Deere. So if it goes well, then there might be some more projects like that coming up. But always been around, tractors my entire life anyway. So and cars is fun and pickup trucks, but like I said, I always worked on tractors. So sometimes you just can't stop it. You know what I mean? The urge. Well, won't you look at here? Bill Beck is in the house. Bill, how are you? Hope you had a good weekend. Well, Snap-on guy stopped by this week, so that was awesome to see he's doing. He's back up and running again. Switch from serve. If no cam and crank variation issues, TSB says switch from 0W20 to 0W40. If crank cam variation, then the new engine, then it's new engine. Oh, wow. Damn. Anthony, how are you? Well, a few Sundays for you, maybe, but last Sunday I was on. So, and Saturday. Bill says, hello, Lisa. Hello, Anthony. But hello, Danson. But yeah, like I said, glad to see that my Snap-on guy is back up and running again. So he was fighting cancer. So, but hopefully he gets on top of that. Got a couple things off the truck, so Hey, Bill Beckett. But anybody else working on something interesting to you last week, or getting the camping and fishing gear ready for a trip in a few weeks? Huh. Well, sounds like you're packing for a good time, Anthony. Hmm? I have done so much camping in my life, I can't even stand it anymore. So I've done my fair share. And then we got the other John Deere engine inside now. So that's next on the list. I'll be curious to see what we find in that. So, but that thing is locked up bad, and I'm afraid and there was no coolant in it, so I'm afraid that's locked up really bad for no coolant. So I'm kind of afraid to see what's inside there, but we'll see. We're gonna do the same thing. We'll open that thing up from top and see what we find. I'm taking an ice fishing rod with me this year. Perfect size for a backpack. There you go. Whoa. Hold on one cotton picking minute. Since when are they giving mechanics time off? When did that memo come out, Anthony? Always working on interesting stuff, even one handed. Just got a parts quote for a modern Volvo. Needs one injector, but recommended all four. Nearing 1K for four injector. My cost 338 per. Otherwise, wow, that is that's like diesel injector prices there, Jamie. I tossed a plastic carb on the lawnmower to get it running. There you go. You got it running, Anthony? These must be teacher mechanics. They taking the summer off. There you go, Danson. That's right. You only work for 6 months out of the year, right? Mm-hmm. But to get my time off, I got to request it 30 days in advance. Huh. Well, yeah. Mostly just welding lately. Got that pretty down pat with my left hand. Not so much TIG though. Well, yeah, yeah. I can MIG weld left and right. So it's nice if you can do that. Right is my preferred side, but I can do just about everything with my left. So, but but yeah. Here, I'll show you what we got off the truck. By the way, got this one set. This came as a set. My other one was spreading, or was spread, and now it kept slipping. So I need something better, lifetime warranty. So if this thing ever spreads, then get me a new one. And then this came with it. So I don't know how handy these are, but I figure, like I said, it came with a set, so might as well, right? Got me one more light right here. So now I got one like this and one like that, because sometimes it's nice to have a skinnier one. No, I don't have to sign checks to the Snap-on guy with my left hand. It's all cash, baby. So yeah, my writing with left, that's the only thing I can do. But welding, wrenching, all that kind of stuff, I can do that with my left. But writing, no. No, no. Strength, while I'm building strength till next year, I'm going back to school. Oh yeah, what are you going back to school for, Jamie? What are you going to study up now? I got, what else did I get from the oh yeah. Got these handles changed out. Whoop, whoop. To the hard plastic ones. My favorite handles right here. I love these things. And I love this little guy too. The stubby one. So matching set. Oh yeah. I'm sure I have it too. I don't know. I don't need no doctor to tell me that, Anthony. Yeah, those are nice, Anthony. Um, especially the short ones. They're really nice. At least you can get those into some tight spaces. And that was the biggest problem. I prefer this one right here, because that way you can be over the pipe with it. Most of the time that gives you room. But my old one was so long that they start to run out of room already. So this one will come in handy. And like I said, look at that. How big of a difference that is size wise. That's just crazy. So already used this a couple times. So I like this a lot. Well, talk to you Snap-on guy, Anthony. But yeah, uh, that's it. Tool wise, I'd say. So and this week, worked on a couple Jeeps. And like I said, and then on that John Deere, uh, a couple cars. So hey, Walter, how are you? Yeah, they're really great for that for sure. Uh, that's that's probably the biggest reason why I like them. That way, you got one hook that can do it all, right? So, and those turbocharger boots, you got to watch out. Don't I mean, they don't take much to poke a hole in those. So, yeah. So yeah, those will come in real handy for that. With my schedule change, I'll be able to sync up with Snappy Dealer again. Good. Yeah, Daniel, I'm staying busy. How are you? You had a good weekend? Yeah, I can't complain one bit. So I've got this the first time in like almost like I said, this is the first time in I don't know how many months I can finally work a day or two, work a day or something, or a couple hours here and there on that John Deere. That's my own. So, like I said, I'm glad that I finally got a little break here and there once in a while, so I can work on some of my own junk. So, Mark Olson, how are you, Mark? Hope you had a good weekend. Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, M. How's retired life treating you, Mark? Or part time retired, I should say. Hey there, Mark. 3 days fits nice. There you go. Hey, dance along with Reynolds. But I was seeing on social media apparently there's a bunch of shops that are slow that don't have anything to do. So uh, I don't know. I don't have that problem, but like I said, I'm glad I finally get a break here and there a little bit to work on some of my own junk. So, but yeah, well, and like I said, if you can get that John Deere up and running, we'll probably do some more of that stuff too. So lots of bread and butter stuff here. Yeah. Is he staying busy, Mark? Dealership slow, independent swamped around here, I'm told. Okay. Yeah, like I said, Doug, it's been crazy. Uh, and some of them were big jobs. So, like I said, I can't complain one bit. Nothing slow here. Yeah, like I said, Jamie, no, same thing here. So, Well, and I'm sure, money tight, and then people like to save some money, and so they'll go for a cheaper option, I suppose. But if it would be my guess anyway on that, I don't know. What do you think, Doug? So y'all done working on tractors, Doug? Oh, come on. My exotic new stuff is older junk. Uh, so I like it. Well, I understand that. Like I said, Doug, I still like to see you guys' shop that you work at. Man, that must be the coolest place ever. I mean, if you got basically just about anything going on in there, that is awesome. Oh, okay. Going back to school, going back for high performance and exotic car tuning and programming. So nothing they'll need. Okay, well, there you go. Any Peugeots, Volvos, and Renaults showing up? Yeah, I bet, Doug. Like I said, for 'cause that's my biggest problem, man. I get bored easy, and I can't stand monotonous. You know, that's it's one of the reasons why I quit welding because it was just welding. You know, I was getting burned out on it, and I still do it, but I quit. I was wanting to quit on time before I would hate it because I always enjoyed welding, but I like this a lot better. Especially now I can work on cars and trucks and uh, tractors that keeps you on your toes and you know yeah, I'm with you on that, Anthony. 100%. 1K for four injector. Yeah. And that's it, Doug. And like you said, that way, it's never the same thing and it's always exciting, right? So that's what I said, Doug. That's why, a shop like what you got that where you work at, man, that for me, if it would be a dream right there. Do a little bit of everything and you know, it's just cool. And that y'all do that under one roof. That is, I mean, you don't see that much. And they're either, the one or the other. So there's nothing to be said for jobs coming in, but you can do, yeah, no. No, I've been self-employed for way too long, Daniel. I've been self-employed since I was 21, so uh, almost 25 years now. So I couldn't do that. Oh. Diabolical, how are you? Saw your pictures on Instagram. The car is coming along. Looks great. Oh, Diabolical. My post retirement is going to be a slew of things for tuning of all sorts, welding, consulting, wrenching, or whatever, on whatever, but dabble in international import and export. Oh, wow. International import and export. Denson saying, hey there, Daniel. I don't think so, Mark. So you got the primer all done, Diabolical. So when is the paint job going to start? Because it was primer, right? But that's right, babe. We don't like to be bossed around. That's right, 100%. No, we like to do our own thing, and when you enjoy what you do, then it's not really work, right? So then if it takes an extra hour or two, who cares? I'll get current again and fly. Nice. Yeah, no problem, Diabolical. You got a sharp looking car, man. It's my hats off to you. That's amazing. I at least like to be asked my opinion first. Yeah, yeah, but when you've been self-employed for that long, Mark, it's you know, I don't know. Use privatized air travels as tax write-off after we finish the door jams. Okay. Yeah, like I said, man, she looks really, really good. That's going to be a beautiful car when it's done. Independent contractor for a shop. Well, on the end of the day, I work for my customers, so on the end of the day, they tell me what they want and what they don't want to do. But nonetheless, I wish I just worked for myself. I'm tired. These people called coworkers and management. Yeah. Well, if I want to bitch about management, I got to talk to myself. So I'm just entering the self-employed life, not being with the government. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different ball of wax. I can tell you that. There will be long days, and sometimes you wonder what the hell you're doing it for. And then there's days that you just love your life, man. It's absolutely beautiful and the best thing you ever did. So it's got its ups and downs. I'll work for other shops, but I'll be billing them. Yeah. I had a customer decline a 30K break flush Friday. I made my pitch, but it's their, yeah. Yeah. Well, at least, as long as you put that down in writing and whatever, right? Then it's their call. Hello, Mark, says Bill. I argue with management every day. Yes, sir. That's how it works, Sam. So, and when you have a management meeting, then it's just you. It's between you, myself, and I, right? Or me, myself, and I. Hey, Bill Beckett. Hello, LM Lisa. Yeah, that's funny, for sure. So, well, yeah, it's I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So I can tell you that much. Can you make more money? I think you can, but you got to put in more hours. That's for sure. And it never stops. All right, Jamie. Thank you for stopping in, and you take care of yourself and get well soon. Especially when, yeah, that gave me my little guy came walking onto the porch when I was sitting down in the end of the evening there, sitting on the porch for a bit, drink a cup of coffee, and he shows up with a bunch of nuts and bolts and washers and whatnot, and I'm like, holy shit, what did he rate it now? So, oh, be able to drive the 460. Yep. Well, in the meantime, your other truck will do a good job for you, so it's all right. Yeah, you take care, Jamie. And like I said, get well soon. Hope all is going to go well for you. Good night, Miss Carol. Chef Shade Tree, how are you? I remember finding my dad's tubes of epoxy when I was maybe 5. That did not work out well. Nah. I guess when I was still a little guy, I fueled up my dad's car once with sand. So yeah, he wasn't too thrilled about that. He had to pull the fuel tank and get it all cleaned out and washed out. But and then years later comes to comes to bite me in the ass because one of my boys did the same thing with the lawnmower. It's like history repeats itself, right? Yeah, don't we all, Chef? Yes, sir. With sand, not with water, with sand. Dad was already glad that I told him that I did that. Because, like I said, I walked into the house and said, Dad, I filled up your car, so you don't have to stop by the gas station. My parents remember me catching unbolting the front bumper of a car they had. There you go, Walter. That's funny. Hey, Northern Grid, how are you? Uh, I just had to do a filler neck in a Ford truck because the grandson dumped gravel in it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh, kids, huh? The other day I was working on a car and was on my creeper, and my 2-year-old shows up in the shop and he grabs, he's got his creeper over there up against the wall right next to that uh, support there. Here, I'll grab it. Right here. That's the creeper for the kids. So, but the 2-year-old grabbed that creeper and was laying under the car, and he had some plastic tools, and he was working on the car too. He was here to help. The different colors on the tubes was cool, and the and the smell was super interesting. Yeah, there you go. Maybe those capless Frollo-necks aren't such a bad idea after all. I don't know. I don't know about that, Doug, but yeah, that might save the situation in itself right there, right? Unless they stick their finger in there. Ooh. So you destroyed your school pants? Mom was not happy. When I was young, I found my dad's stash of girly mags. Uh, there you go, Chef. Yeah, good stuff. But then again, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So it's nice that, my boys can help me and we can do stuff together and it's enjoyable for sure. My second oldest enjoys it a lot. So, especially working on tractors and engine swaps and stuff like that, transmission swaps. He's my go to guy. He's my spotter when it comes to stuff like that. So, like I said, that's great. We can do that together. What up, Jude? How are you? Glad you could make it. Yeah, same thing here in our household. Hey, Jude. Hey there, Jude. My oldest memory is of my mom holding up my sister as we overlooked the school, and the 50 star was brand new. Hey, Jude. And Lisa. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Jude. Hey, Mark. But what have you been working on lately, Jude? Been doing BMX style bike. Yep. Yeah, my boys work on their bicycles all the time. What's up, Doug? A bit of everything. Yep. Same thing here. But so anybody any excuse me. Anybody any uh experience with Top Don scanners? Personal experience? You like them? You don't? Yes, mate. No. Nope. Not under the weather at all, Jude. It's just been a long week. We used to take out bikes apart just to lube them, even though we did it last week, right? Hey Scott, how you been? Yeah, my boys do the same thing, Mark. Change wheels out and saddles and stuff like that. And then they ride around with a smaller rear wheel and a larger front wheel, and it's all kinds of stuff. Has been having a lot of good deals on their scanners lately. Yeah, I talked to Jimmy a while back about it, but it's always nice to hear somebody else's experience too. I was just curious. Jesus. Oh. I was just curious anybody has one that they work with. So I don't know if it's true, but I've seen guys claim Top Don is the same as Launch. I don't know, Northern Grit. You can do a lot with a bicycle nowadays. Well, see, my kids have the older ones, so I mean, they can swap out a lot of stuff. He's been catching up with me lately. Yes, sir. I taught them that trick a couple months ago. So guess what? Every set of wheels they have has a cart. Well, I showed them how to do it with a piece of cardboard. So and a zip tie. That's how they do it. But yeah, they do the same thing, and then they run back and forth with their bicycle, and yeah, they're having a heyday doing that. They really like it. So yep. Yeah, and they make their little stunt thingies, make a little jump and stuff like that, and you know how that goes. And then one goes too fast, falls a little awkward, and you know, loses some skin and then it's crying and but off your bike. I didn't like it, so I completely stripped it down and repainted silver. Yeah, for sure, Mark. Yep. Yeah, we raise our kids the old way. We don't have video games really. What up, Dave? All good, Dave. Better late than never, right? Hey, Dave. All good, Dave. Don't worry. I had a Higgins bike sold by Sears. Yeah, my kids have the older bikes, so if you want to hit the brakes, you gotta kick the pedal back. So and those are the easiest to fix for them too. So and they got all kinds of, like I said, they got the weirdest combinations going on with their bikes and stuff like that. They do whatever, but it's good. I mean, they got their own tools, so they can do whatever they have to do. And then once in a while, we find an old engine or something, like a lawnmower engine. They'll take that apart. They'll have one of them tore apart in about an hour. So with limited amount of tools. So yeah, that's pretty cool. My son always played outside, but he played video games too. Okay. Yeah, our kids. I mean, they spend a lot of time outside, even in the winter. No doubt. Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. My truck is a stick shift, so yeah. Second oldest was driving a car the other day, so on the yard that is, not on the road. But yep, that's great. Once Dad got a tractor, the gloves came off though. Hey Howard, how are you? Just picked up a Metco scanner, or where do you have a snap on? Yeah, which one did you pick up, Howard? You like? Have you used it already? You like it? Pretty cool about building my bike. We had a Western Auto Store in town. Remember that we gave. Yeah, that's great when you can do that. I learned three in the tree in a farm field, 54 Ford. Yep. Yeah, my second oldest and my oldest, they both can run the skid steer. So a while back, I was cutting down a really big tree that was close to the house. Had a big chain tied up and as high as I could reach it with the skid steer. Got a big chain hooked up to it, and then made sure it was long enough, and then some strap. And he was sitting on the skid steer, pulling it away from the house, and I was cutting the tree. So he did good. He got me up in the tree so I could chain up, and then he got me down, and he kept tension on that rope and made sure that that tree didn't fall on the house. So I don't know, Dave. I don't know any better. So, but I tell you what, I love my daughters. I love my daughters. That's the honest thing I have to say. I love my daughters different. I love them as much, but I love them different than my boys. But but yeah, it's cool to see that. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I had a customer call and he says, I can't get my brakes to bleed. I said, well, I don't really have time because I'm swamped, but if you want, I'll let my boys do it for you. And he's like, oh, yeah, no problem. He's an older feller. So he dropped the car off, and my two oldest kids, the two oldest boys, they had the brakes bled in about an hour, and car was back on the road. And that yeah, that was proud dad moment right there. My boys did that. Yeah, I've got three, so they are special, as in in my heart. My dad had a 1970 F100 300 tree. Learned, yeah, and no dash lights. Yeah, it's all good, Jude. So, but like I said, when it's good to see when that they're growing up and doing things on their own. And oh, Flex Pro used it a little different to me. Has no scope, but I have it on my Zeus. Okay, Top Don is basically rebranded launch. Who was saying that before? Was that, yeah? That was Northern Grit said that. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Mark. Took us to the cemetery. Well, that's good, Doug. My first stick shift was in a farm tractor, so I could barely touch the pedals. That was my stipulation for my dad. He says you can drive that as soon as you can touch the pedals. So sitting on the edge of the seat and tippy toe my foot, and I said, "Look, I can press the clutch in, Dad. I can drive this tractor now." It's like, okay, here we go. But all right, everybody, we're at the 1 hour mark, and we're going to call it a night. And so I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I hope everybody is going to have a good week. And we're going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.